Hey guys, my name's Dan from Your Guitar Academy, and in this lesson we're going to be looking at 3 super cool blues turnarounds that you can instantly apply to your blues playing. Now, the turnaround is the last 2 bars of any 12-bar progression. And what I'm going to show you now is 3 different approaches to that. One very chordal-based approach, one very lead-based approach, and one which is a more traditional kind of Delta blues style approach. So I think you're going to enjoy all 3, and they're all going to be in the key of A. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate them in the key of A, but I'll also show you how to apply them to any key in any blues. Now, just before we carry on, don't forget to visit the website where you can download the full tab, both as a PDF and a guitar profile, so that you can actually see exactly what I'm doing, print it off and follow along. So let's get started with the first turnaround. Okay guys, so let's start by going through this first blues lick. Now, remember we're in the key of A, so when we get to that turnaround bit, we always kick off with the A. That's the root chord, whatever it is, and in this instance, we're just going to do an open A string. Okay, so literally just that open A string. Now, the things that we're fretting here in terms of the actual tab, and let's kind of go through that first, looks like this. So we start up here with the 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the D string, and the little finger on the 5th fret of the high E string. We play those 2 together. And then we're basically just going to go. So all I'm doing is I'm starting by playing them together. Okay. Then I'm going to do the high string, followed by the low D string. Like that. Okay. Then I'm going to drop down chromatically on the D string. So I'm going to do the 4th fret on the D string with this little finger staying exactly where it is. And again there I do the 2 together and then pluck just the little finger by itself. Then I drop down again chromatically. Okay, I pluck the 2 together, then the little finger by itself, and then I drop down just simply to the 2nd fret of the D string, playing the same 5th fret again once. This time only once. So it goes. Okay. So you just got to kind of get that rhythm, that idea in your head. Okay. And that's how you can kind of go through that first bit there. Okay. And then, as with any turnaround, we need to move to the 5 chord. And the 5 chord in this case is an E. So I'm kind of fretting an E dominant 7th chord here. So basically the chord we're fretting, if you just do an E major, ditch the 3rd finger and add the little finger to the 3rd fret of the B string, you've got yourself that E dominant 7th chord. And all I'm doing here is just kind of going through that chord. So I'm doing an open E string, then I'm going to hammer on my 1st finger onto that G string, okay? Then the high E string, then the low E string, and then the 3rd fret on the B string. Oh, so it's like this. Okay. This gives you a really cool kind of Delta blues sound. And notice as I actually play it, I kind of fret the chord as I'm going. Okay, so it'll be. You can see I kind of add the fingers as I go. So it's a bit fiddly at first, but it's definitely something you can do. So all in all, you've got the open A string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that is your first blues turnaround. Now, the little bit of theory that we need to do about that is in terms of how to translate that to other keys. And the super cool thing here is that whatever note this is the key. Okay, so in this instance, that's an A. We're in the key of A, so you can easily just transfer that. If you wanted to do it, for example, in the key of B, you just simply move up a tone. And then remember that you're basing this on an E-shaped chord, so you'll have to, if you've dropped up a tone, if you've moved up a tone, you'll have to just move up and make it a bar chord. It still works absolutely perfectly. Okay, a little bit more fiddly with the bar chord, but that's how you do it. Or, of course, just pop the capo on the 2nd fret there. Now just a quick word on what I'm doing with my right hand for this lick, because I'm kind of in a more Delta-esque kind of Robert Johnson fashion. I am just using my fingers here. So I'm playing it like this, just so you can see. So basically, what the key thing there is that I'm just using fingers. I'm not too fussed about which ones I'm using or that you should be using, okay? The ones I use, just in case you want to know, is I essentially divide so that my thumb's doing any lower notes, and that my first and second fingers, typically, sometimes my third, is dividing the higher notes. So in this instance, I'm doing the D string with my thumb, and my second finger is doing that high E string. Now when it comes to the E, you can hear I'm using these two fingers up high now. So I'm doing the low E string, okay, there. Then I'm doing my first finger is doing that hammer on the G. My second finger is doing that high E string. Back to the low on the thumb. And my second finger's grabbing the B string. So all together, we've got that. Okay, so let's go through this second turnaround, and this one again, this one is not quite like the Delta. This is a more chordal based approach, but something that will really help you understand, what the turnaround is and how it works. So essentially we're still in that key of A, okay? So we're up here on the 5th fret, okay? And we're based around the A dominant 7th chord here. So the first thing I do, and the first thing you'll need to do, is find the A dominant 7th chord, but as a D shape. So a kind of D7 shape chord. So in this instance, that's how you play it. So it's the root note is the 7th fret on the D string. Then I'm fretting that open, if you imagine an open D7 chord. So what I've got is my 3rd finger and little finger are up here on the 9th fret, okay, on the G and the E string. And my 2nd finger is in between those two on the 8th fret of the B string. Okay? And basically what's happening when you're doing a turnaround is you're starting and ending on a dominant chord, on the root dominant chord. So in this instance, I'm going from the A7 and I'm coming back to the A7, but I'm just going to fret it based on around this E shape, okay? And in between, all we do, we leave the root note exactly where it is, and we drop every other chord tone down chromatically. That's why we get these shapes. So that's your first shape. The second shape is this, okay? So just imagine, okay, to make this super easy for yourself, just imagine the chord we just started with, take off the root for a second and just drop this whole thing down a semitone. That's all you're doing, but then you need to keep the actual root note on the A. So you go from there to there, keeping the root note on the A. Okay, same again, because then you're going to drop it down another semitone, but keep the A on. Okay, so I kind of refret it at this point, using those fingers instead. So I use my 2nd finger on the root, then 3rd finger, then 1st finger, and then little finger. Remember, if you need the tab, just go ahead and visit the website where you can download the tab. And then I come back finally to my A7 chord, and in this instance I'm just doing an A dominant 7th based around this chord shape. So I've got my 1st finger flattened against the 5th fret, and I've then got my 2nd finger on that 6th fret there, where I kind of hammer on the major 3rd. So we get that is basically my turnaround. Then I have to go to the 5 chord, if you remember, and the 5 chord in this instance is of course E7. Okay. And what I'm going to do is this really cool idea which gets used a lot, but if you've never done it, it's going to sound great. And essentially I'm going to go from an F9 to an E9, but I'm just going to do the top part of the chord. So literally it couldn't be easier. I'm just going to flatten the 8th fret on the G, B and E string. I'm going to slide into that and then slide back to the 7th fret, which is essentially my E9 chord, and that will resolve back to the root. So So all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And there you have your turnaround 2. Okay, so turnaround 3 is a more lead-based style turnaround, and it's very much a kind of Clapton-esque type of turnaround. And again, just like with the other turnarounds that we've looked at, it's all based around the same concept, that you're kind of playing over the A and then you switch to the E. So the important thing when you're doing a turnaround with lead is that you do hit the 5 chord note at some point. So in this instance, you'll see that we end on the E. And when I'm kind of doing the lead break, it needs to be rhythmical and it needs to be kind of played over the A dominant chord in this instance, so the root chord. Okay. So I'm kind of using a combination of the kind of A dominant 7th arpeggio, the A minor pentatonic, and a little bit of the major pentatonic as well. So they're all kind of in there, but they're all very much based around that A dominant 7th. So let's go through the notes. So we start with the low 5th fret, okay? That's our, just kind of like, we're on the first beat of the bar, 1. And then we're going to go hammer on from 5 to 6 on the G string. That's the minor to major 3rd. Then 5, 5, 8, and we can pull off or pluck the 5 there. Whatever you prefer to do, okay? Then we're going to hit the 7th fret, then back to the 5. Let's just stop there for a second. I'll do it slower. Okay. Now at that point we're going to grab the 6th fret, okay, and that's the blues note, remember, okay? So this note here is very much the out note, but we're going to quickly go and then pull off to the 7 and then grab the 5th fret. So 8, 7, 5. Okay. So as quick as you can, they're all pull-offs. And down to the 7th fret here. So far. So at the start of this bar, we're going to bring in this, which is this really suggestive, just dominant chord here. Okay, so hammering on, basically from the minor 3rd to the major 3rd, but also holding at the same time this B string, making the chord essentially, and then jumping down a little arpeggio of 7 and 7 again, which hits my low E, which is suggesting that 5 chord, and that's the key part of this turnaround. So let's just do that one more time, and remember, as you do get it up to pace, you need to make sure it stays nice and rhythmical. It's just got that real bounce to it that's going to make it really, really work. Now just a quick word with the right hand when it comes to this lick, and I'm doing all kind of alternate picking. Okay, and I think that's so important when it comes to getting that bounce effect. Rather than trying to do downstroke, which can be quite aggressive, I really like to try and keep it nice and bouncy with that right hand. So do try and keep it alternate picks, so down up strokes. You can see how I'm just constantly doing that movement. So even if I sped up, it's nice and bouncy, and it really works with that kind of style, and it will make sure that you stay in rhythm. Okay guys, that's it from me. I really hope you enjoyed that lesson. Remember that if you head on over to the website, you'll be able to find the tab to download so that you can learn these in depth, and just make sure you're getting them absolutely bang on. Okay, I'll see you later.